So before...
Yes! Oh!
5, 4, 3, 2, let's roll. This is how we roll. This is how we roll. This is how we roll. Let's roll.
Yeah! Woohoo! Yippee! What's up, Planet Roller Skaters? INDY JAMMA Jones here, and today we are at Millie's house!
Hi! Oh, there we go, folks. I'll do that.
Millie is one of your favorite shop girls from the Long Beach shop. If you don't already know that, you've probably seen her before in the stairs and the hooping episode.
So happy to be back.
Yeah, we're happy to have you, especially because we're going to be talking about something that you are like a total expert at, and that is products. How long have you been working at the skate shop now?
I have been working at the Moxie Skate Shop in Long Beach for almost 4 years now.
Yeah, so you've probably seen a lot of different skate situations.
Lots of different stitches, for sure.
Yeah, and as you can see, she has quite the skate collection, lots of different products, and anyways, she's just the perfect person to come to have us do a tutorial about how to clean your bearings. So that's what this episode is about, how to clean your bearings. Well, I'm not really gonna be in this much. I'm gonna be behind the camera, just kind of letting you do your thing, and
Cool.
yeah, so let's get right into the tutorial, how to clean your bearings for beginners. Sweet, ready, set, go.
Something to know about what we're doing here today, this is gonna work for any bearing inside of your skateboard, rollerblade, roller skate, so this is for everybody. We wanna make sure that our bearing has colored caps. A colored cap is going to look like this. It'll be blue, green, pink, black, red. We cannot do this with bearings that have a metal cap, and they look like this. Unfortunately, the caps are non-removable.
We're rolling whenever you're ready to roll it.
Okay, cool. We want to think about bearings as sort of the way that we think about everything else on our skates. So our skate is a dynamic machine. All the little pieces on your skate are going to work super hard together to function and to roll. So we want to think about it as something that we need to take apart completely to clean properly. Yes, so all of the things in my little goodie bag here are going to be things that we should use to clean our bearings properly. Now this is something that can get kind of messy, so you want to make sure that you have a nice wide open space, probably a space somewhere in your house where you can clean it afterwards, just because if you skate outside, you're subjecting your bearings to dirt, sand, dust, so we want to make sure that we're being nice and clean with all of this.
Yeah, bearings get pretty gross with all that street sludge, especially in Long Beach.
Yeah, definitely. If you're a first-time skater and you've had your skates for, I would say, 6 to 8 months, then that's around the time that you would maybe need to clean them. Pretty much, it's time to clean them whenever you feel resistance in your roll. So I like to tell our customers that it kind of feels like you're skating through molasses. To even remove your bearings from your wheels in the first place, you're probably going to need this little tool right here. This is the bearing puller from Bones, probably my favorite. A hand press like this is super useful. So you should have it in your arsenal of tools that you use to work on and mess with your skates. You're also going to need a skate tool. This is the Y3 from Powerdyne. This is probably my favorite tool that we sell in the store. It's going to be helpful and useful for a variety of different kinds of skates. Or there's the Y4 from Powerdyne as well. This is good for skates that have an aluminum plate on the bottom, like the Reactor Neo or Reactor Pro Series plate. The Bones bearing bin is the easiest way to clean your bearings or contain all the liquid that you use to clean your bearings, which should be a 100% alcohol solution. Or for today, I'm gonna use this super intense thing of acetone, which also works.
So that's why I love the Bones bin, because the acetone is like a pretty harsh chemical, and you don't want to dump it down the drain when you're done.
Yeah.
So if you use the bin, you can keep your skate cleaning solution in there and not stress about it.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is a really nice contained way to clean your bearings. If you're using 100% alcohol, you want to make sure that you're not using like a 75% isopropyl alcohol mix. You want it to be 100% for sure. What's cool about this is that it's going to fan all of your bearings out at a nice equidistant sort of way. They fit on these little spacers here. So what's cool about that is when we put our solution in here, we're bringing the solution up through the balls in the bearing, which I'll show you guys in just a second. So this is a very thorough way to clean your bearings as well with this tool. So our second step is going to be removing our wheels so that we can get started and taking the bearings out, and then moving to our third step. So I'm going to use my Y3 tool to remove my wheel off of my roller skate right here. It's just righty-tighty, lefty-loosey for that. Take that axle nut off, and then we've got our wheel ready to go. And then we're going to go in with our bearing puller tool, and we're going to get these guys out of there. On our bearings, there's going to be a colored part called the cap. We want to make sure that we remove that when we go to clean our bearings so that we're not trapping fluid inside of the bearing. If we do that, then the balls in the bearing and the other metals on your bearing are going to rust or corrode. So we want to make sure that we are removing that. You're going to need something with a very small, sharp edge. I like to use a safety pin or a needle like this. And something that's really key in this process as well is that when you go to remove the cap on the bearing, you're pressing on the inside of the retainer here, that you're not pressing on the outside, otherwise it just won't come out.
Can you show us the inside again?
So the inside is going to be next to this smaller circle here. When we go to remove it, we're just going to press on the inside here, and it should pop right out, just like that. And that's gonna expose the balls in the bearing. Sometimes bearings have 2 caps, sometimes they have 1. So if they have 2 caps, we wanna make sure that we're removing both of the caps. If they have 1, then you just need to worry about that 1. But there we have a fully exposed bearing that, you know, you can see all the gunk and stuff that's in there, and we're gonna get rid of that through cleaning. Sometimes you don't need to do all of your bearings. Sometimes you'll just have a couple that you'll notice don't spin or revolve completely. You can always clean your bearings in pieces and parts like that. Once you've removed these little caps, you're ready to go ahead and put your bearings on this part of your bearing cleaning tool. And then you have a little like bearing kebab. After you've got your bearing kebab, put this you put this guy back on there. And now I'm going to come in with my solution. And what's nice about this tool is that it shows you where you should fill it up to. Now we only need a little bit of solution in here so that there's air that can move the solution through this. So we only need a small amount. We don't need to fully log this full of liquid. Okay, so we're going to be careful with this. Yeah, so that looks about right. And then we're gonna put our bearing kebab back into where it came from. Okay, screw that on nice and tight, and then we're going to agitate for 8 to 10 minutes on and off.
That's a long time.
That's the doctor recommended. Job, y'all. That took a while. Okay, so once we have agitated for 8 to 10 minutes, we can take this guy out. Remember that if you're using acetone, you're working with a harsh chemical, so just try and not get it really on your hands or touch it.
But if you do, it's actually nail polish remover, so it'll evaporate and you'll be fine.
We're gonna start by taking this guy off.
Do you want me to do it? I don't have polish on.
Would you? Sorry.
I got you.
Now this is the part where you would either want compressed air or a keyboard cleaner to go through and get all of that excess fluid or liquid out of the balls inside of your bearing, or you're gonna want a full 24 hours to let them sit out and dry. I like to go back in with just a paper towel or a cloth and wipe off any excess fluid that's around or on the bearing.
That's kind of why I like the acetone, because it evaporates better than the alcohol, so you don't have to stress so much about blowing it all out. I would kind of spin them a bit to kind of just let it like move around out of there. Yeah.
Oh, there we go, folks. See? Just like new. See, this is the best. I truthfully really don't do this very often.
Not as often as it should be done.
So satisfying. Now we're gonna go to bed. Wait, 24 hours.
24 hours later.
Okay, this is passed. Now that our bearings are all dry, our next step is to go in with our lubricant. Bones makes a lubricant called Speed Cream, and that's what I'm gonna use today. But this is a really vital part of cleaning your bearings, just so nothing rusts. So this just keeps everything moving freely and well as far as the balls inside of your bearings are concerned. And when we're putting lubricant on our bearings, we really don't need to go nuts and like fully submerge the bearing in lubricant. It's just a drop on the interior race, which is the smaller circle on your bearing. So just like that. Boop. Nice and small amount. Okay, and then after we've put our lubricant on our bearings, the next step is to put the caps back on. So when we do this, we just want to be nice and gentle. We're just pressing the cap back on with the pads of our fingers, nice and delicately. It should snap back into place. So don't be feeling like you need to really press them on. We can actually damage them that way, so just be nice and gentle. Now that our caps are back on, we can go ahead and put them back in our wheel and we're ready to roll. Use my tool. So when you tighten your wheel, pretty straightforward way of doing it is tightening your wheel all the way down, and then we're gonna wanna move a full 90 degrees back, and then you should have perfect roll and spin. You should have a little bit of wiggle side to side, but you don't want any sliding or clacking on the axle, which would look and sound like this. Yep, and that is completely and entirely how to clean your bearings properly.
Yay! Thanks, Millie.
Yeah, you're welcome, Indy.
Well, thank you, Millie, so much for taking us through that tutorial.
Yeah.
Super helpful information. Let us know what product info or product tutorial you want to see from Millie next. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit up planetrollerskate.shop for any of the products that you saw in this video. Support a skater, y'all. And until next time, later, skaters!
I want to bust a couple of myths. I get customers asking, can I use WD-40? Can I just spray it on the outside of my wheel? The answer is absolutely not.